Coming up on today's episode of DLLS Mavs, it's a Mavs game day as the Mavericks get ready to take on the Clippers in their third preseason game. And Marc Stein joins us live from Springfield at the Basketball Hall of Fame. All that and more on today's episode of DLLS Mavs. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single day. You can find me on X at Kevin Gray Sports, at Bobby Carella. You can always dial up the Stein line at the Stein line for our National and Mavericks NBA insider, Marc Stein. Tim Cato got the day off today. He'll be back with us tomorrow here.
He still works here?
He does still work here. He has the day off. They got a little rest and relaxation for Cato, so he'll be back with us tomorrow. You gonna be okay with that?
I'm okay with that. It's convenient that Tim waited until the night when the Mavs are playing a 9:30 p.m. preseason game to not be able to do the post-game takeaways.
Good call.
I'm filling in dutifully for him tonight.
You're not filling in. You're always around, Bobby. You're always around for us here at DLLS Mavs. By the way, you're right. Mavericks tip off with the Clippers at 9:30 p.m. He does not work here today.
If you want.
Kavanaugh, you can come join the show if you want to here on talk about the Mavs today here on DLLS Sports. At Tim_Cato, make sure you find him on X as well. Coming up at 12:30 today, Marc Stein live from Springfield, Massachusetts. He's been covering the Basketball Hall of Fame ceremonies this past weekend. Former Dallas Maverick Vince Carter inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. We'll talk with Marc Stein at 12:30 today for the Stein line for his news and notes on your Dallas Mavericks on a game night as the Mavericks take on the Clippers in preseason game number 3. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports here on YouTube. We already see you in the chat. Shout out to Dion. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Patrick and Sweden, Frank. See all y'all in the chat as well. How are you feeling on a Mavericks game night, preseason game number 3, Bobby, as the Mavericks take on their longtime rival Los Angeles Clippers? They finally bounced out of the playoffs last year en route to the NBA Finals for the first time since 2011.
Yeah, the first game in a new arena. That should be interesting. And it's the Clippers' first game, too. So, like, ordinarily, your preseason games are never going to be too popping, right? They'll be, like, maybe, it's a great opportunity for people that can't ordinarily go to a game to get cheaper tickets and go and see their team once a year. So, maybe it's, like, halfway, 2/3 full, something. I would expect the crowd to be pretty big tonight. First game in that new arena, like it's going to feel like a regular season game, I think, which I think it could be good, But the main thing that I want to see is Kyrie and Klay were very clearly shaking off some rust, shaking off some nerves, trying to find their footing.
Shake it off.
And doing that. They were doing that.
That's my running bit now, by the way. Anytime somebody says a song lyric, if I got it on my head, it's definitely going to come out. So I'm going to make sure we don't get, thrown off the YouTube. But,
No, that was great. I thought that was great. More of that, actually.
Shout out to Taylor Swift.
But I
don't know.
Now that it took them 5-6 minutes to kind of figure it out, okay, they did. So let's just get a good first quarter. Obviously the first game, none of the starters played, but the Mavs were down 11, 12 points early. Against Utah, the Mavs were down early. I'm not going to sit here and say that a preseason is a must-win or anything, but like,
let's hope not, because it's not a must-win. No, it's not.
Let's just have a better first quarter, guys. Like, let's just see some stuff that's like, yeah, that's cool, that's good. That's like 5, 8, 10 minutes of consecutive like good basketball.
Yeah, get off to a good start. Obviously, Klay Thompson playing in his second preseason game as well. Kyrie Irving, who looked really good, I thought, against Utah and his minutes of action that he had. For me, one of the things I'm looking for, let us know what you're looking for in tonight's third preseason game for the Mavericks. That game is going to be broadcast on NBA TV, by the way, if you're going to be looking forward to watching that. Game's on NBA TV.
And if you're in DFW, it will be on Mavs.com. There's some tricky geofencing issues with that, though. So Mark Followell literally said, good luck. That's what he posted. When promoting the game, he said, turn your location on and good luck.
Yes, so make sure you have a chance to watch it. One of the things I'll be watching, not just Klay and obviously his second preseason game, Kyrie getting back on the floor, but also, and we talked about this a little bit pre-show, We'll see a little bit more for Spencer Dinwiddie. Obviously, the backup point guard position right now and the depth behind Luka Doncic is interesting right now because Dante Exum going to be missing several months with his wrist injury. Spencer Dinwiddie hasn't gone off to a great start so far this preseason, but there's still some interesting things that could be sorted out here in the next couple of preseason games before, obviously, they have the dress rehearsal, what will be on Thursday night against the Milwaukee Bucks. But Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, has got to show a little bit because so far through 2 preseason games hasn't been, I would say, at his very best for the Mavericks so far this preseason.
Yeah, and to tease ahead to the next segment, if you're a diehard, hop on the Discord and ask us some questions because we'll be answering some fan questions in a little mailbag in Segi too. And one of the questions is about that, the guard rotation. You know, because DLLS has been a thing for 2 months, and we've talked about the Mavs guards for 2 months. Well, during that time, Dante Exum got hurt. Luka hasn't played yet. And so now all of a sudden the Mavs went from having too many guards to like, man, it would be really great if one of their guards is playing well.
Yeah.
And, you know, Dinwiddie is the guy that we thought they were going to be counting on in the event that Luka and or Kyrie are unavailable, because he's the most experienced, because he's ostensibly the steadiest hand. And I'd say he's been anything but steady so far. So I definitely want to see some more from him.
Yeah, definitely going to need some more from him. And essentially you brought up as far as Luka's concerned too, because one of the things we'll talk to Mark about a little bit later on in the show is, you know, we won't see PJ Washington again tonight in the 3rd preseason game. We're not going to see Luka. Hopefully we'll see both of them on Thursday night. Are you concerned that we haven't got a chance to see the projected starting 5 just yet? Is that something that you want to see by the time we get to the end of the preseason before they get ready to take on San Antonio on October 24th on opening night?
I'm not concerned. I think it would be neat to see them.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think it would be cool, but I'm not really concerned. You know, I think it was very important for Klay in particular to get out there and run around to kind of shake off the nerves because, like, he is making the biggest adjustment. One of the biggest adjustments the whole NBA
in
of any
the
player
league.
this
I'd
season.
agree in the
like,
league, yeah.
There's a lot, and not to learn the coverages or learn the play calls or anything, literally to just be like, I don't play there anymore. I play here now.
Yeah.
You know,
get to certain spots on the floor in different ways than he did in Golden State and figure some of that out for sure.
Yeah, so I think it was important for him to get out there and run around a bit. I don't really think it's necessarily critical to the mission that Luka gets out there and plays 35 minutes with the starters. You know, that might happen on Thursday no matter what, but I really don't think it's that big of a deal. But from an entertainment standpoint, like, we're going to be watching these games. It would be really cool if their best players were out there.
Yeah, and we talk about the chemistry and the trust and all these buzzwords that Jason Kidd likes to use for this team. You want to see, I would like to see some of that before the season starts, just to get an idea of like, oh man, we've got Luka, we've got Kyrie, we've got Klay, just to give us a feel of that before that happens in real game action and that you're in real live pressure situations as well. So that would be nice, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily concerned that we won't see it, because by the time we get to opening night, if everything goes well and the way that we think it's going to, Luka should be ready to go for opening night, and that's the most important. Yes, would we love to see him at the AAC on Thursday? Sure, but if he's ready to go by the time they get ready to take on San Antonio, that's the most important part about all of this in terms of getting through the preseason healthy and getting everyone healthy, getting ready to play on opening night.
Yeah, it's the same story as last year. Last year, their preseason was marred by injury and like international flights and all sorts of weird stuff that was very unconventional and untraditional, and they ended up having one of their best seasons in franchise history. Now, I don't think that it's like connected, you know, like if they would have played last preseason, they still might have gone to the finals. Like, it's not like one thing led to the other, but it is not completely vital that these guys are totally familiar with one another by opening night. The regular season is a long, arduous deal. The one difference, though, I think, between last season and this season is that coming out of the gates this year, the Mavs schedule is tough.
It's hellacious to come out, yes.
Like, I guess as long as you're not shaking off the cobwebs in the third quarter of game number 2, then I'm fine. You know, but luckily, and we'll learn more from Mark about this here soon, you know, they were at least able to go through a bit of practice. It's like they have been putting some stuff on the floor together. You know, maybe it's just against like ghosts or against their own teammates. It's not against the LA Clippers. You know, it might be against the Milwaukee Bucks on Thursday. You'll have to tune into our pregame show on Thursday to find out.
That's right.
But, you know, I don't want them to be playing Minnesota or Phoenix like on October 30th and be like, oh man, Sure would have been great if they would have had that extra preseason game.
For sure. Let us know how you're feeling in the chat as well and what you're expecting to see in the Mavericks' third preseason game tonight, as they have their third preseason game tonight and then their final one on Thursday night. As Bobby mentioned, we'll have a pre- and post-game show for the game on Thursday when the Mavericks host the Milwaukee Bucks in their final preseason game. That is on the real basketball action, of course, beginning on October 24th when the Mavericks take on Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. Anyone else that we haven't mentioned yet that you want to see play tonight to play well, or just want to get a little bit more information on now that we're getting through the halfway point of the preseason at this point?
I don't know. I mean, I guess like maybe the team has already decided what it's going to do with the last two-way spot, but to the public, it's still a mystery. Is it going to be Jazz the GOAT Gortman? Is it going to be, I mean, they did sign AJ Lawson to a two-way deal, but
they did.
So that is one slot. Kessler Edwards is another. Brandon Williams has the third. Brandon Williams hasn't played this preseason. So is Gortman and, pushing Williams? Is Williams trying to hold off Gortman? What about Jamarian Sharp? He's been pretty good. I saw someone on Discord ask about that. There's those end of the roster things are pretty interesting. I don't think, if this season goes according to plan, I don't think it really matters who the third two-way spot is, but it matters a lot to the guy that has the two-way contract.
Agreed.
So there's still plenty on the line for those guys. And that's kind of the interesting thing about the preseason is you have so many players that are just trying to get through the preseason healthy, and then you have so many guys that are trying to realize their dreams coming true. And so there's this level of desperation going up against this level of I'm too good for this.
Yeah.
And so you can really tell the guys that pop. Jazz Gortman really popped for that reason in the first game. And I guess after those guys, maybe it would be Omax. He got the start. I'm assuming he'll probably get the start again tonight because J-Kid wants to keep the kind of the 5-man units together. And I thought Omax was decent against Utah.
Yeah.
If he has another good game against LA, then all of a sudden it's all right, man. Maybe there's something here.
There's progress there being made when it comes to Omax. Shout out to my guy Daniel in the chat as well here on DLLS Mavs. For me, it's two guys. I'll go with Jaden Hardy. Jaden Hardy continuing to have what needs to be an important preseason and training camp for him to show that he can do some of those playmaking things, be a little bit better on the defensive end. We know that he likes to shoot the ball and can't shoot the ball well from three. How much more does he continue to grow throughout the course of the next couple of games? And I'm just excited to watch Derek Lively. He's becoming one of my favorite Mavericks just to watch. We're seeing the maturation, the growth, obviously, in the first preseason game. Really played well, dominated inside, showed some different elements of his game in terms of the baby hook, being able to finish at the rim as well. Derek Lively is just someone I'm just excited to watch just purely from a basketball standpoint because of the energy that he's providing on both ends of the floor. Lively seems to be moving toward what we hope is a top 10 center this upcoming year, if not already inside the top 10 for the Mavericks already.
I do think this team, when the starting five is healthy, between Luka, Kyrie, Klay, Lively, PJ, Daniel Gafford off the bench, one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the league, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of swagger, a lot of size, a lot of dunks, a lot of alley-oops, a lot of threes, but then also just a lot of individual creativity, a lot of skill. It's going to be really, really fun to watch the team this year. It would be more fun if they won 60 games, but I think win or lose, it's always going to be fun to watch them.
60 games would be nice.
What about 58?
58, if it comes with a number one seed.
About 56. Where's the cutoff? What's not good enough? If they win 50, are you going to be
I would
man,
be disappointed
sucks.
if they had anything less than 52 wins.
Okay. What if it's 51, but they lose 8 games on buzzer beaters?
That would be horrible. I would be okay with that, I guess.
Okay.
As long as it wasn't Max Strus hitting the buzzer beater, because I'm about sick of seeing that.
Max Strus is going to get traded to every team that's about to play the Mavs.
Hit a buzzer beater for every team that he gets
5 games in a row, he's going to get him somehow.
That would be such a horrible nightmare. Maybe like Tanner's nightmares that he's having about doing
I hate that
videos
guy.
these days.
I hate Max Strus.
That was the luckiest three-pointer shot. One of the luckiest ones I've seen in a
Didn't
long
I talk to you right after that game?
Did you talk to me right after that game?
I did a radio interview at a it might have been with maybe it was with CA actually. Yeah.
Either way, it was something terrible to talk about.
I was commiserating with my Mavs people after that game.
And then PJ hit a bucket to get the Mavs the lead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
dunk.
go ahead, dunk.
It was awesome. And he was flexing and everything. It was
too.
2 seconds left, and I'm like, no, Max, no.
And there goes Max Strus. I know, Ben. I know it's bad memories to talk about Max Strus, but hey, it happened. But guess what? Everything happens for a reason, and the Mavericks made it to the NBA Finals. So, in other words, it was okay. I guess. Coming up next here on DLLS Mavs, it's a Mavs Mailbag Monday. We're going to answer your questions from the Discord and online as well. And a little bit later on, Marc Stein going to be joining us live from Springfield, Massachusetts, site of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Former Maverick going into the Hall of Fame, and he'll have his news and notes as well. All that and more coming up next here on the DLLS Mavs podcast. But let me talk to you about Temperature Pros. It's been hot in the DFW all summer long. The heat has continued so far through the early portion of the fall. Temperature Pros can take care of you, though. Family-owned business serving all of DFW can offer a free tune-up if you call and mention the podcast DLLS Mavs.
Let's go.
So there you go.
It was 97 degrees yesterday, Kevin.
I was at the fair this past weekend.
Oh, how was it okay outside, or did you need some air conditioning?
Hot. It was hot. I could have used a Temperature Pro to help me out to cool me off because it was hot walking around at the fair. By the way, shout out to Texas for handling business this past weekend against Oklahoma. Temperature Pros offers free estimates and financing serving University Park, Richardson, Preston Hollow, Carrollton, Addison, and Farmers Branch. If you're a customer that signs the estimate on any new heating and air conditioning system of any size by October 21st, you'll receive a full rebate if the Mavs win the NBA Finals.
Ooh.
How about that?
Okay.
So you can reach them at 469-209-1184 or temperatureprodallas.com. Again, if you sign your estimate on any new heating and air conditioning system of any size by October 21st, you will receive a full rebate if the Mavericks win the NBA Finals.
That's like a 50% chance.
You going to put a percentage on that?
I mean, they're going to go back and they're going to play Boston again. So
good call.
Jason Tatum said so.
That's true. He did say that. TemperatureProDallas.com.
With Empire today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. And what's better than that? They keep shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Their philosophy is to help find you what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and a gazillion substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is just as important as what they put in. And of course, I've told you this so many times, they got a virtual floor designer. You point your phone at the floor, you take a pic, boom, all of a sudden you can see what your new flooring would look like in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your bathroom, in your DLLS studio. And I'm snapping because guess what? They got the jingle too.
You're scaring people.
800-588-2300 Empire today. And you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code DLLS, and you'll just be snapping like me with all that money you're saving. Restrictions may apply. See empiretoday.com/DLLS for details.
It's a Mavs Mailbag Monday here on DLLS Mavs, answering your questions from our Discord and also online, as well as the Mavericks get ready to take on the Clippers in their third preseason game tonight. 3 of 4 preseason games that the Dallas Mavericks have. They'll be back on the floor on Thursday night when they take on Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks at the AAC in the preseason finale. A little bit later on in the show, we'll have Marc Stein live from Springfield, Massachusetts, live at the Basketball Hall of Fame as former Maverick Vince Carter was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame this weekend. Good dude. Epic game winner, of course, against the San Antonio Spurs. One of the shots that lives in Mavericks lore forever. Shout out to Vince Carter, who eventually became a top 10 three-point shooter of all time. That's how much Vince Carter evolved this game. Fantastic player, along with Simone Augustus, who was inducted, Chauncey Billups, and Michael Cooper, all being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame this weekend. So really solid class in Springfield. But we've got some questions as we get ready for the Mavericks game tonight against the Clippers and finishing up the preseason later on this week. And shout out to our folks in the chat. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to DLLS Sports here on YouTube while you're here. And you can also have some of your questions answered. And we've got plenty, I think, Bobby, from the MFFL's answered questions today.
That's right, we do. So I turned to the Diehard Discord. You can join the Discord. You can join the Discord if you become a Diehard.
We won't discard you, I promise you.
No, and you should not discard the Discord either. You should cling to it with all your might. And I just said, hey, we're doing some mailbag stuff. What do y'all want to know? So Ben asks, it's a 2-part question.
Okay.
How do we keep Sharp? I'm assuming Ben is asking about Jamarian Sharp, like how do the Mavs retain Sharp? Unless Ben is asking, well, how do we stay
sharp?
How do we stay like, I
got it.
with it,
Okay.
So Ben, you let us know in the chat which one.
Yeah.
And then he said, and do you let Lively loose on his game and let him take threes and mid-rangers?
Oh boy.
Let's start with Lively.
Yeah, but let's work backwards here. Are we ready to fully unlock the Derek Lively experience? If it's any indication of what Lively said during the preseason and in the offseason, he wants to focus on dominating the paint, being a force in the middle, whether it be finishing better at the rim with a little bit more variety to his game, obviously continuing to be a really good rebounder, shot blocker, being a really good defender in space and in the lane as well. I think his focus is dominating on the inside. If he has opportunities to be able to knock down some shots from the outside, I think he'll take them when they're there, but he's not going to necessarily force the issue when it comes to his abilities to knock down shots in the mid-range or beyond the three-point line. I think those will come to him as those opportunities are there. But yeah, I think there'll be more chances for him to do that, and I think he'll be a lot more confident in his abilities to take those shots because he's not only working on it, but hey, he took one in the NBA Finals and it went in, so why not get a confidence boost from what he could potentially do from the three-point line out there?
I think when you do see Lively shoot a three, I think you're going to see him shoot a three late in the first quarter or early in the second quarter whenever it's understood at the time how opponents are defending the Mavs. I think he will only shoot threes in games this season when teams are putting their wings on him so that you're switching pick and rolls to where there's no advantage if Lively comes to screen for Luka and Luka's got Jaylen Brown on him and Jason Tatum is guarding Lively. Well, why would you even do that? You're wasting time. There's no advantage to be gained here. So how about Derek go spot up in the corner, let Tatum sag off you, help on my drive. I'll get Klay to come screen for me or something. I'll beat my man around the corner. Tatum's going to help. And then now you're going to get the shot. Like, I think it's going to be one of those things where, like, they're not going to make a big deal out of it. Like, Jason Kidd's like, Derek, understanding tonight, you are going to take 2 3-point attempts. So be ready. Like, they're not going to build it up to be a thing.
Right.
But it's going to be a response to how the game is being played. It's not going to be like, just go do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think his shots will come within the rhythm and the flow of the offense. He's not going to go out of his way to seek out 3-point shots. If they are there and they are smart shots within the flow of the offense, I think he'll take those with confidence and be empowered to do so, because I think that's a great point. Like, look, do what you do and what we're asking you to do, but we'll also empower you to take those shots with confidence when they're available and within the flow of the offense. If that's the case, I won't mind Derek Lively increasing his 3-point shot output as long as it's within the natural flow of what he's got going on offensively.
For sure. Now, yeah, for the other part of that question about Jamarian Sharp, so there's a lot of this is kind of preordained. So very rarely you'll see guys in camp with one team sign a 2-way contract with a guy on another team, or with another team, not with a guy on another team. So, like, for example, if the Mavs were to cut Jamarian Sharp today, maybe one player that gets cut from training camp roster will sign with another team. Generally, what's going to happen is players that are cut from the 20-man, or in the Mavs case, 21-man roster, will then sign with the G League team. So I would say as long as, Jamarian Sharp isn't a bad dude or a bad player or whatever, odds are very, very high that when the Mavs cut him, he will sign with the Legends. And the same could be said for whichever player misses out on the 2-way deal, whether if you think it's going to be Gortman or Brandon Williams or somebody else, the player that gets cut will probably sign with the Legends. Emmanuel Miller will probably sign with the Legends. And the same could be said for, like a lot of the times you'll see teams like start camp with 20 guys, cut 3 guys, sign 3 guys, and then cut them after like 20 minutes. Like, that's all sort of the process for filling out your G League roster. Okay. So I would say that that's probably going to be the case. I don't think they're going to offer him a 2-way contract.
And it'll get a chance for him to develop with the Texas Legends as well, if that is the case. I mean, he's a big guy who can block a lot of shots. He was very productive in that area, obviously, in college. And I think for Mavericks fans, a guy that could hopefully show some promise down the road. And he'll get that opportunity more so with the Texas Legends at this point.
Yeah. Now, quick response for Andrew asked us 2 questions. Any update on Luka, PJ Edwards, and Maxi injury status? Well, we'll get to that in 5 minutes with Mark. And then part 2 on that from Andrew was any updates on access to Channel 29 on live TV streaming, direct-to-consumer app, etc. Cuban gave an interview about that. If you have DirecTV, you have Channel 20. You're the expert. I don't want to. You know about this.
Yeah. So I have DirecTV, and right now, if you do have DirecTV, you do have access to Channel 29. Now, for those who have DirecTV Stream, I don't believe that Channel 29 is available on DirecTV Stream that I've seen as far as online is concerned. But if you do have DirecTV, you should have access to Channel 29. Now, whether that's going to be available on YouTube TV, Fubo, any of the other, TV providers.
There's too many apps, Kevin.
There's a lot out there. hopefully that's available by the time we get to the beginning of the regular season. So you have a chance, obviously, to watch the Mavericks as many times as you're able to. But for the immediate solution right now, it's about getting an antenna and getting that to work for you before the season starts. But if you're a DirecTV customer, you should have Channel 29 already.
And I know the Mavs are working on a way to provide those games digitally as well.
Yeah.
But that's a whole process. So we'll see. We'll see how successful they are in that endeavor. Leopard says, if the Mavs were to rebrand, is there a direction you would like the team to move towards? Color combination, logo change. This you may be using the city skyline more as an example.
I don't know if the rebrand is necessarily what's needed at this point. I kind of like the logo the way it is. Now, the Skyline Incorporation, that would be a little bit more cool to see a little bit more of that. I remember, what was it the 2021-22 season or the year before with the Gold City Edition and the Skyline that year? I kind of like those. Those were okay. It was when Kristaps Porzingis was here, so I think it was one of those 2 years. But I didn't mind those jerseys. I thought they were kind of cool. I know a lot of folks didn't necessarily like those jerseys. I thought they were kind of cool, actually, the gold and the white. But yeah, for a rebrand right now, I'm okay with what they got going on, honestly.
I mean, they kind of get a rebrand every year with the City Edition.
The City Edition,
right?
Which I think we're starting to see kind of leak online. The white Trinity.
It's kind of like a combination of the gold ones and then the ones from last season.
Exactly.
It's like slap them together.
Yeah.
It's no gold. It's like white and silver. And they look pretty sharp.
Yeah. I didn't mind those at all.
I mean, the NBA makes a big push on that. As far as like the main logo, though, I don't know. Tanner, can I share your take on that? Do you mind if I steal your valor? Well, I'll credit you, so I'm not stealing anything. But before the show, Tanner was saying that a lot of teams that are redesigning their logo now are kind of like, I don't know, it's like too modern, too minimalist. It kind of looks like weird. I don't know. Like it looks like cool now.
A circle.
Yeah, it looks cool today, but then in 5 or 10 years, it's going to look silly. Like the Clippers have rebranded like 5 times in the last 15 years because they have keep going with the flavor of the month, and then like the calendar turns. You're like, oh yeah, this sucks now.
Yeah, we got to change it again.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm fine with what they got as far as their brand is concerned. So no concerns there. But yeah, the Clippers do seem to change theirs pretty often. I do kind of like the boat logo that they have now. I do actually kind of like that. Speaking of tonight's game, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And then the last one, Soul Child asking a question, kind of what we were talking about before with Dinwiddie. Any word out of preseason so far on who is leading the backup guard spot between Hardy, Dinwiddie, and Grimes? Now, as far as like reported stuff, I don't really think that there's any sort of juice on that right now, but I mean, based on what we've seen, I think you and I both agree.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we got a little bit more clarity with Dante Exum's injury and who is slotted where. Obviously, Grimes, you got Spencer Dinwiddie. There's still some competition as far as that's concerned, but I think right now those guys would be the two that would lead that particular charge as far as that guard position is concerned. Real quick, before we go to break, speaking of guards, Luka's doing some acting these days. Did you know that?
That is major news to me.
He is. In fact, Tanner, he's starring in one of the latest NBA tip-off commercials going into the NBA season. Let's see what we think of Luka and his acting chops here.
This year, we finish what we started. Dallas makes another run. We get it done. This year, I'll figure out how to get down.
That's not very believable. Luka cannot jump that high.
For those who are listening on the podcast, it's Luka sitting on top of the basket in the NBA tip-off commercial, and he's got to figure out how to get down from the basket. Why are you banging on Luka's hops, man? You remember when Luka was...
Well, he had 2 dunks last year. That's my thing.
He used to be a leaper.
No, that's my thing. Luka, I need more than 2 dunks this year. I hope you don't figure out how to get down.
No. Actually, we want him to figure out how to get down so he can
figure out how to get up
and dunk again.
No, figure out how to stay up. Get up, stay up. I need 100 dunks.
100 dunks?
I'm aiming low. One more. Luna in the Discord just said, "Let's go Mavs." So,
let's go Mavs. I was so excited to hear that chant at the AAC the other night, watching Klay, watching Kyrie.
Good to be back.
Shout out to Sean Heath. Sean Heath, one of the best PA announcers in the game today. Let's go Mavs. Basketball's back.
Straight, simple, short, to the point.
Shout out to y'all. Yeah, shout out to y'all for your questions in the chat and also on the Discord as well. Go to alldlls.com/diehard, become a diehard member. You become part of our member-only Discord as well. You can have your questions answered by us here on DLLS Mavs. Coming up next here on DLLS Mavs, Marc Stein live from Springfield, Massachusetts, site of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, which he was covering this weekend. Former Maverick Vince Carter being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. We'll dial up the Stein line here next, here on DLLS Mavs.
Kevin,
Bobby,
this weekend I put my ball knowledge to the test.
oh, did you? Okay.
I put my ball knowledge to the test on the best fantasy league platform out there, Sleeper. And, buddy, I need to post my dub. Tanner, pull up the dub.
Talk your talk, Bobby.
Fire up the dub. I had a good weekend on Sleeper. A $10
entry.
And you can say, well, I forgot. I was going to run down, but I forgot the numbers.
Wow. You forgot what your whole entry was.
I took more than on Jamar Chase. I took more than on Bijan. I got Bucky Irving with the touchdown. Will Anderson with the sack. I got A.J. Brown for a touchdown. And check out that CeeDee Lamb. You can see that.
That's a deep cut on the Bucky Irving one from the Bucs.
CeeDee Lamb, more than 88.5 receiving yards. And I'll be damned if CeeDee did not end up with 89 yards, Kevin, before mercifully being benched. And your boy won. You can see how much I won. I won $341. So it was a good weekend for me on the Sleeper app. And if you think that you know ball the way that I think that I know ball, you can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Mavs to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. I got to say, that was so much fun. I was so fired up.
I bet it was
when that play hit. It was awesome. It was great. And, yeah, shout out Sleeper.
Also, shout out to Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. I'm trying to do my best Tim Cato here. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Make sure you ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agreed, Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to recent Indeed survey. One of the things that I love about Indeed is that it matches your preferences with the jobs that you're looking for, leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Coming up here in just a moment, we will have Marc Stein live from Springfield, Massachusetts.
Whoa.
In fact, there he is. You can dial up the Stein line on X at the Stein line for our national and Mavericks NBA insider, Marc Stein, who is donning the DLLS hat in Springfield, site of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, where we saw Mark, Vince Carter, Simone Augustus, Michael Cooper, and Chauncey Billups all be inducted into the class of 2024. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Guys, I'm good. It is always, I have to say, I only make it here about once a year, but it's always a really inspiring place to visit. Like, I think you guys love your hoops history as much as me. And I got to be honest, like, I get around these guys from the 70s and 80s, and I turn into a kid again. So I always really, really look forward to this weekend and just, remembering what it was like to fall in love with this game at a really young age.
Yeah, seeing Michael Jordan embrace Vince Carter, inducting him, or seeing him go into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Also, Michael running into Doug Collins, embracing him as well, former coach, of course, with the Chicago Bulls, obviously, during his time there. It was just cool to see those kind of moments. What's your favorite part about visiting the Hall of Fame itself and being there among the dignitaries and obviously those who are being celebrated and inducted in the Hall of Fame?
There's no question it starts with the stuff. Like, I am just obsessed with seeing shoes, just basketballs from the 70s and 80s when I started following it. I just posted on my Substack a picture, like in the lobby, they have all these locker setups, that this is before you even walk into the hall. Jason Kidd has his own full-on locker filled with Jason Kidd gear. Steve Nash has one. Nancy Lieberman has one. I mean, there's I don't know, 25 of these in the lobby. But I'm always struck by the Larry Bird display and just how, like, there's in the glass, it's this pair of Converse All-Stars. They look suede, but they just look so simple and flimsy. And I'm just thinking back to, like, being a child of the 80s in high school, and it's like Larry Bird, and then you're like, these are the shoes he played in? How is that possible?
Go ahead.
It's humble roots, man.
Yeah.
I've actually never been up there before, and I've always wanted to go. If you were to,
Your head would blow clean off.
I know. It's like I need a plan for like a full week to just go explore every square inch of that place. But if you were to tell somebody like me, but then also anyone who's watching or listening to this, they were going for the first time, like what's your advice? What's your advice for tourists?
You know what's interesting? It's not huge. I have not been to the other halls of fame, and like I've never been to Canton for the NFL. I've never been to Cooperstown for baseball, so I don't really have a great comparison of what it's like. But it's not huge. You would not need a week. I mean, seriously, in a matter of hours, you can really see everything that they have. But I mean, the beauty of where we live in Dallas, I mean, it's a direct flight to Hartford, Bradley. And then it's just really a 30-minute drive to Springfield. It's not hard to get to. Springfield is tiny. There's now a casino here. There's an MGM hotel casino. But, I mean, the Hall of Fame stands out as the landmark that, you cannot miss. They've recently redone it. It's and like I said, just like again, I get so nerdy about this stuff, but just like, in the 70s especially, the NBA was not on TV like it is now. Like when I was growing up in my youth, and then even my teenage years when the NBA was starting to explode in the 80s, but like it just wasn't accessible like it is now, where Luka does something and literally within seconds the clip of that play is all over the world and it's on our phones in an instant. It just wasn't like that then. And especially in the 70s, there was so little NBA on TV. You guys have probably heard me wax poetic about this show with The White Shadow that was on in the 70s, this ahead of its time show about a fictional Chicago Bull who goes to become a high school coach and teacher in South Central LA. And like that was on every day, even in syndication. That was our basketball even more than the NBA. And on the show, the fictional coach, Kenny Reeves, would constantly talk about Artis Gilmore. So like in my old age, like I see Artis Gilmore at the Hall of Fame every year. And it's just like, I'm just like, oh my God, that's Artis Gilmore. Like I don't even talk to him or anything, but it's just like, it's that kind of stuff that like for me that I just, I love it. I love feeling like a kid again and just being around this stuff in an immature, childish way. But again, like just like Kareem, the shoes he was playing in. It's like, how is this possible? This guy never missed games. He scored almost 40,000 points, and like the equipment they had is so rudimentary. It's crazy.
Speaking of kids, one of the guys that was inducted into the Hall of Fame this past weekend, Vince Carter. I still remember vividly the 2000 dunk contest in Oakland, California, when him, Tracy McGrady, Steve Francis putting on a show. And, of course, Vince Carter winning that dunk contest, doing some things that we had never seen before. He gets his moment in the sun, the former Carolina Tar Heel being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Your thoughts on not only his induction, but obviously Michael Cooper, Simone Augustus, and current Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups all being inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend.
Simone Augustus, her speech, and just everybody was talking about that last night after the speech. For me, I actually sadly I did not even get to see Vince or Chauncey. I didn't get anywhere near them. Part of the reason was Saturday they had to move Hall of Fame inductions this year because of the Olympics, so they had it much later than normal, and they basically scheduled it for the weekend before the NBA season starting, weekend-ish before the NBA regular season starting. But this past weekend was also Yom Kippur observance for those of us who observe it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't go to Saturday's events. And Saturday, like you said, Michael Jordan and Larry Bird were there. And like that was very unexpected. Neither one of them make a number. Neither one of them make a lot of public appearances. Larry stayed for Sunday. By Monday, Michael Jordan was there Saturday. By Sunday, he was gone. And so, but just seeing them there, huge. For me personally, Jerry West's induction in the Hall of Fame for the third time, that was really why I felt like I had to be here. You guys have probably heard me talk about this before, but I covered Jerry as a Lakers beat writer pretty early in my career. And I covered him for, this 30-something years. But Jerry West was part of the NBA for more than 60 years. So even though you guys look at me as this old head who's covered the league forever, I covered less than half of Jerry West's NBA life. And so to be there for that, something I have, like the kid in me again, when you see the 80s Lakers, these guys love each other so much. It is crazy to see to this day the bond between them. Last night there was an after party, and Pat Riley basically asked all of the Lakers who were present from the 80s to they went off to a court inside the Hall of Fame after hours, and Michael Thompson posted video of it. They're dancing, and just like the bond, it just makes you wonder, the 2011 Mavs, 30 years from now, these guys will probably still be the same, just winning one championship, or like those Lakers teams did, winning a bunch of championships. Again, I flash back to being a teenager watching those teams, living the Lakers-Celtic rivalry of the 80s, growing up in Southern California. And then I'm like, I can't believe I get to watch this. I can't believe I'm watching these guys that as a kid, I was just so obsessed with the whole Lakers-Celtic rivalry. And now I'm here AC Green, Vlade Divac, Byron Scott, Norm Nixon, Bob McAdoo, Michael Cooper going into the Hall of Fame, Michael Thompson, Magic's, on and on and on. And Pat Riley just being so giddy to be around these guys and the weekend they had. And that's where I feel like such an intruder, but it's such to be a fly on the wall for stuff like that is ridiculous.
Shout out to Ardell with the super chat. The $5.77 super chat. Stein is fired up today and waxing poetic. I love the passion. And people say there's no romance in pro sports. At the Hall of Fame, Stein is the best Stein. So
thank you. Because I know I get carried away with this stuff, so I'm glad that I'm not putting people to sleep. Because
it's important.
Bobby, it's hugely important, and I'm this has bothered me. Basketball history has not been preserved to the level it should be, and it's just not as accessible as it should be. And as someone who just loves this sport, it has always bothered me. And so that's when I come here and it is so touchable, it really does move me. And I just hope that anybody who loves this sport gets the chance. It's not the easiest place to get to, I grant you. It's not that easy to just hop on a plane and fly to Hartford and drive to Springfield. But again, modern basketball, to see the NBA now, where, every sneeze is chronicled and the stars of today are just massive worldwide stars on a global level that I never would have imagined, even in the 90s. Even covering Jordan, the NBA did not have the place that it has now. But again, little Marc Stein loved the 70s and 80s so much, and like I will talk about that as much as you guys let me.
Shout out to Super Chat Ardell for throwing in the Super Chat today here. More with Marc Stein here in just a moment as he's going to drop his news and notes as the Mavericks get ready to take on the Los Angeles Clippers in their third preseason game a little bit later on tonight. All that and more coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs podcast.
All DLLS.com/diehard is where you can go today. I'm over here now to become a diehard.
One shot Bobby today.
That's right. Get me off of here. No, so shout out to Jack. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Leo.
Let's
shout
go.
out to Joel. Some of our most recent diehards at alldlls.com. And when you become a diehard, you get a promo code for a free shirt that you can use at any point. And those shirts are being shipped out now. Of course, there was a little bit of delay. No thanks to Hurricane Milton on that, because the factory that we get our shirts from is located in Florida, but everybody down there is good and everything. It's just there's going to be some stuff delayed for a little bit, but you also get access to the entire site, including all the post-game analysis, commentary, columns, opinions, and reporting from some of the worst teams in town, like the Dallas Cowboys, and some of the best teams in town, like Sam Nestler's Dallas Stars, like Tim Cato's Dallas Mavs.
Shout out to the Stars.
Like Jeff Wilson's Texas Rangers. So if you want to become the most knowledgeable and attractive sports fan in town, you need to go to alldlls.com/diehard. Sign up there with that. You also get access to the Diehard Only Discord, where you can ask us questions on the show and off the show and hang out with other like-minded folks. You get discounts on merch. You get discounts on events, early access to events, and all sorts of other stuff. Kevin's favorite thing, the Diehard physical Diehard card.
That's right.
That you can wear as a badge of honor, and that will absolutely increase your level of magnetism for all humans around you, because, hey, everybody wants to be part of the coolest dang community in the world, and that is alldls.com diehards. CHGO, DNVR, PHNX, PHOY, they're cool, but like Dallas is where it's at, dude.
alldlls.com/diehard. Become a diehard member today. Show off that diehard membership with your physical diehard card. A lot of great premium content, 20% off events, member-only Discord, a lot of tremendous benefits becoming a diehard member here at DLLS Sports. Again, alldlls.com/diehard. As we bring back in our National and Mavericks NBA insider, Marc Stein, dialing up the Stein line at the Stein line on X. Mavericks taking on the Clippers tonight in preseason game number 3. Tip-off, late one tonight, boys and girls, at 9:30 p.m. for the folks who are going to be...
Mark, you staying up for that one?
Yes, in fact, it's perfect timing for me because I will have my flight home, and I will be getting home from Springfield in the 9 p.m. hour, so a late tip-off. That's ideal for the old man.
Yeah.
There you go. And you'll be able to watch that game tonight as the Mavericks take on the Clippers and open up the Intuit Dome, the brand new arena, the billion-dollar playpen that Steve Ballmer has built in California for his Los Angeles Clippers. Mark, as we go into tonight's game, Mavericks will not have Luka Doncic or PJ Washington on the floor in this third preseason game. What more can you tell us about their statuses as we move that much closer to the end of the preseason and the regular season?
First thing I have to say is I really wish I could have been there tonight. I am desperate to see the Intuit Dome. And the Mavericks actually went early. They traveled Saturday. They could have, I think in normal circumstances, they might have traveled Sunday to get in LA in place for a Monday game. But they actually traveled Saturday after their practice in Dallas so they could have a practice session Sunday at the Intuit Dome. So they've actually been on the court already and had a chance to sample it. For me, there was no way I don't think there was a really feasible way for me to get all the way back across the other side of the country to get there. But I'm also told, before we get to the Luka and PJ update, so Kyrie Irving, obviously he maintains an off-season residence in Los Angeles. On Saturday night, I'm told that he hosted a team gathering because, again, they went to LA early. And so it's interesting. We saw this in the preseason last October and again this October, where both Luka and Kyrie hosted special gatherings. Luka did it in Vegas. I'm told Luka had a player dinner and party in Vegas, and there was some sort of Jordan brand swag involved, which sounds pretty interesting. And then now the team goes to LA early in the season. And so Kyrie, he is the host, and he does basically a party for all the guys. So, I mean, these bonding things, on one hand, you could say, okay, what is it that big a deal? But yeah, I mean, I think the chemistry you're seeing with this group, their chemistry is pretty tangible. I think when you're just court level and near the bench and around the team. And so, we saw them go to Vegas for camp to get away. And then the only road preseason game, they go early again to get away and have some team bonding time. And it's funny because preseason now, we're only seeing these teams play 4 games, 5 games in the preseason. The Mavs only have 4 on their schedule. So these bonding events have become almost as important as the games, it seems, because, in this modern era, teams are so reticent to play their guys in the preseason. We see in Philly, Joel Embiid's not going to play at all. Luka, even if he didn't have the calf contusion, he was not going to play all 4 exhibition games. I mean, even if he was in perfect condition, I think we might have seen him, twice tops. But, sorry, guys, still trying to get my voice fixed here. I do not know what is wrong with me. Hopefully by the time I get back in studio, I'll be...
It's because you're spitting too much fire on our program, man.
That's right.
Not fire. It's just modest news updates from your Mavs. But look, getting to the stuff that I know Kevin wants to know most, it's still not decided whether we will see Luka or PJ Washington Thursday at home against Milwaukee in the preseason finale. Obviously, neither is playing tonight. Basically, the way it's been described to me is, in a perfect scenario, in the ideal scenario, we would see a short stint for either Luka and or PJ against the Bucks. Goodness sakes. But they're not going to force it. They're not going to force these guys to play just to get them some preseason minutes. If they have to miss Thursday's game against Milwaukee, I don't think it will surprise you guys to hear that the only priority right now, the only thing they're thinking about is having both of those guys ready for October 24th against San Antonio. And again, that is where, the schedule is working to the Mavs' benefit. The Mavericks and the Spurs, they don't play on opening night the 22nd. They don't play on opening night the 23rd. They both start on night 3 of the season.
I mean, at least, so over the weekend, it was reported that Luka went through at least a little bit of non-contact stuff. PJ went through a full practice. So I guess, basically what you're saying is, even if they don't play on Thursday, all that time between Thursday's preseason finale and Thursday's debut, the Mavs are going to have 5 or 6 practice days in there. And those could presumably be practices where they go pretty hard, where can at least simulate the intensity of a preseason game, if nothing else.
Yeah, look, it's certainly not ideal if neither Luka nor PJ gets any preseason minutes. I mean, we talked about this last season, and we've talked about it on some recent shows. There's this misnomer that, last season, Luka and Kyrie had a training camp, and that's why the season went so well. Well, no, actually, they didn't. They both came away with injuries on the trip overseas to start the season, and Luka and Kyrie had all of about 7 minutes of game speed court time before the season started, and it ended up not mattering. They ended up finding a great chemistry as a twosome anyway. But this is, Kyrie was acquired mid-season in 2023, and now this is the second straight camp where he hasn't been able to hook up with Luka. And Klay Thompson, he's been able to play with Kyrie, but Klay's not getting reps with Luka or PJ Washington. So again, none of this is ideal, and I don't really think in practice you can get really anywhere near game conditions. But again, you're not going to force it if you're the Mavericks. The only thing that matters is having these guys healthy and ready to go on October 24th, and they're going to prioritize that. If they're ready for some spot minutes for a 10-minute-ish stint against the Bucks on Thursday night on national TV, great. But if they're not, it would be silly to push it.
Speaking of the injury front, Maxi Kleber, any progress as far as that sprained ankle that he's dealing with? Obviously something that he's trying to get back and ready for the regular season.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I have not heard anything in terms of what you would describe as a promising update there. I mean, it sounded like a very unfortunate ankle twist that just happened in that pickup game the day before media day. And, you know, as Bobby noted, we are seeing clips of Luka on the court and, you know, going one-on-one with God Shamgod and at least being active to some degree. I'm going to have to double check if Maxi Kleber is on that same path. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, so I'm going to have to dig more into that one.
Get ready, Omax. I mean,
yeah,
geez,
more opportunity for Omax.
Because I mean, here's the thing:
tonight,
even if PJ is not able to play on Thursday, right, and his first on-court action against an opponent who is trying is the season opener, dude is going to get tired after like 5 or 6 minutes.
Sure.
You know, like he's not going to be able to play 34, 35 minutes. And if Maxi's also not in there, like I'm not sounding the wee woo alarm, but the Mavs are already pretty thin at power forward, and their top 2 power forwards are hurt right now.
Yeah.
So like it might need to be, you know, their depth is going to be put to the test starting game number 1, it sounds like.
And if we bust out the Corellistrator, how do you evaluate Omax's preseason at this point? He's gotten plenty of run.
Yeah, I mean, so on Friday I kind of put it maybe too succinctly, but I said like he was out there playing against starting caliber players and he didn't stick out as being like out of place. Like he kind of like fit in, which I feel like is good. I don't think he really popped necessarily.
He
but
didn't
I don't
seem like
think
a negative on the floor.
Yeah. It didn't seem like, oh my God, this is chaotic or what's happening. You know, like he seemed fine. You know, he seemed fine, and he seemed against Memphis whenever he was playing against their deeper reserves, like he seemed good. So you know, I think he's scaling reasonably well. I just hope it's not in a he's not in a situation to where
he's got to play significant minutes.
Yeah, like I don't want Omax starting on opening night.
Correct.
Playing 30. Like I hope that PJ is able to get out there.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a very interesting point, and I will be asking around to. I promise that when we get together again, I believe we get together again Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
By Wednesday, I will get you a Maxi Kleber update, and for Bobby, gift wrap for Bobby, I will get him an Omax projection for opening night.
All right,
there we go. That's gonna
15 points, 11 rebounds.
Right, relax. Jeez.
I was talking about minutes, not his stats.
Oh, yeah, exactly. You're doing a lot, Bob. You're doing a whole lot.
I just got carried away.
You get too carried away. Mark, before we get you out of here, as far as Klay Thompson is concerned, he's going to be playing in his second preseason game. Any other thoughts coming out of his first preseason game? Had 10 points, was able to play 18 minutes, knocked down a few threes, especially in that second quarter, about what we're potentially going to expect to see from him tonight as far as his second preseason game with the Mavericks.
Yeah, it's funny. I had a brief interaction with him in the hallway after the game, and I said, no, I don't remember exactly what I said, but hey, 31, and then I was like, man, that sounds so weird, and like he's like, just get over it. It's life. I'm here now, and I'm like, I said, yeah, you're adjusting better than I am. So look, he looks like he. Every time I see him, he just, to me, looks like he's just really enjoying everything new. Like, it is so new, but I feel like, and look, he was so candid the other day talking about how why would Klay Thompson, after 4 championships, be nervous about an exhibition game? But it just shows you how much he cares and how well he wants this to go. And he realizes it. This is one of the stories of the season in the NBA. Like, these are exhibition games, but people are still going to make a huge deal when that opening tip against the Spurs and Klay's out there, because that's when it's real. That is when he is officially a Maverick. These games don't count, and it's just it is still sinking in for all of us. And I just see a guy who's he really wants it to go well, and he looks rejuvenated to me, really.
Well, Mark, as always, we appreciate the time. We hope that you get home safe. Hopefully you had a chance to enjoy your slice of basketball heaven this weekend in Springfield, Massachusetts. And we look forward to hearing your insights here on Wednesday here on DLLS Mavs.
I left just enough time to stop at the legendary Frank Pepe's for a New Haven pizza before I leave. And New Haven pizza. When you ask me what better be on the list when you come, New Haven pizza is a truly special experience.
New Haven.
Well, yeah, Bobby will jot that down. He's our resident foodie here on DLLS.
Oh, that looks so weird. Like, not in a bad way. It just looks very unique. Oh my God.
I will take a picture and we will discuss in person on Wednesday.
Wow.
Sounds good. Appreciate you, Mark, man. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
All right, guys, be good.
Bye, Mark.
That'll do it for us here.
Dude, that really does look like. Look
Relax,
at this,
Bobby.
Doesn't that look so unique?
That does look unique. I don't know if it looks good, but it looks unique.
I would cop. I don't know. It's a lot of tomato sauce, but it's fun.
Tim Cato will be back with us tomorrow here on DLLS Mavs. We'll be on at 12 p.m. here on DLLS Sports, recapping the Mavericks' third preseason game as they take on the Los Angeles Clippers. How did Klay do? How did Kyrie do? And everything else from the fallout of the Mavericks and Clippers on Monday night. And we'll be back again at 12 p.m. tomorrow here on DLLS Mavs. For our guy, Marc Stein, at the Stein Line on X, for Bobby Carella, my name is Kevin Gray. We are DLLS Mavs. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 12 p.m. on DLLS Sports. Y'all be good. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.